You played your final high school game at Ohio Stadium. You played in Columbus. You were on a recruiting trip and you went to the Horseshoe and you saw Ryan Shazier and others playing in those uniforms. Were you always destined to go to Ohio State? Was there ever a question you wouldn't go there?
Yeah, it was. At first, I was originally committed to Florida, the University of Florida, so it wasn't always just Ohio State. I wanted to play in the SEC, but luckily I came home and played for Ohio State.
Seems like it's destiny. You ended up at Ohio State, as you mentioned, and you talk openly about how watching Shazier up close and personal really gave you a different perspective on what type of linebacker he is. What was it that you saw to Shazier that made you want to model your game after him?
His speed and the way he just, played the game physically and just with his emotion. I was always stuck between playing running back and linebacker, and pretty much after that game, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to play linebacker and, do what he do. So it definitely pretty much helped me choose what position I want to play.
Did they give you the option of playing running back or linebacker, or were they going to try to make sure that you were a linebacker at Ohio State?
Yeah, so most of the teams, they gave me the option, and more so it'd be they wanted me to play running back. But when I came out and publicly said I want to play linebacker, every team was fine with it, and Ohio State was definitely fine with it.
You, because of your speed and because of your ranginess, have been also attributed to having to guard some of the best backs that the opposing team brings to the table, like Saquon Barkley. And you've had some success against Saquon. What does it take to shut down or to try to hold down a really good dynamic back like that?
I always just say a guy like him, you can't really stop guys like that. You can contain them, but you can't stop them. And what it takes is just constant being aware like where he's at every single snap, and that's pretty much what I did. It was I took it personally. My job was to contain him, and that's pretty much what we did.
Interesting. Jerome Baker joining us from Ohio State, linebacker entering the NFL draft, projected to be an early round draft pick. So coming into the draft, people always ask about your size because you are hyper fast, but in some ways built like a defensive back rather than a linebacker. What is your answer to the scouts, to the GMs that poke and prod and ask you about whether you're big enough to play linebacker at the NFL level?
So I weigh 232. I can hit anybody, no matter if I'm 200 pounds or 230. And when you pop on that film, it don't matter how big I am, how big they are. I'm going to hit you. So if you're questioning my size as far as I'm going to hit somebody, all you got to do is pop on the film and you can see I can hit anybody.
It's interesting because the last couple of years, we've had guys that came out of college that weren't looking like the prototypical linebackers, maybe more athletic than old school linebackers like a Shaq Thompson, like a Miles Jack, and they have found roles in the NFL in a lot of different defenses. Is that kind of how you see yourself, one of those utility guys like a Jack or like a Shaq Thompson at the next level?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can play a lot of different, roles. I can just play linebacker. I can have the speed to play even safety. I can play nickel. No matter what it is, I can mold my game into playing whatever you need me to do. So I find that I'm more valuable just because of you can use me pretty much in any defense in some way. So that's what makes me valuable than most linebackers.
One of the big storylines of this college football season was Baker Mayfield and planting the flag. How bothered were you by that?
I'm very, very bothered. That's just a personal. We didn't disrespect this field when we, beat them the year before. So when he did it, people always say, like, did he do it while he was there? He pretty much waited until Ohio, then he did it. So I know he definitely wouldn't have done it if we all was there. But it's all emotional. I know some of the guys, they talk to him personally about it, so it's all good.
So
definitely disrespect, but got to move past it.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there when you were just talking about it. So you said he waited until what? Until he did it?
Yeah, so he waited until, the team was up going to the locker room to do it. He didn't do it while we were still down there. We didn't watch him do it. We was already gone. So that was the story behind that one.
Gotcha. Jerome Baker joining us, Ohio State linebacker. After that game, though, you guys went on a tear and you didn't end up losing until that Iowa game. And there was some idea that maybe you would make the college football playoff after beating Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. Did you feel robbed that you guys didn't get to play in the Final Four?
Um, I wouldn't say robbed. I always say you can control what you can control, and we lost that Iowa game. That was it for us. That was an embarrassing loss. So I would have loved to play in the college, playoffs, but we could have controlled the Iowa game. And we lost. So
There are
we got robbed.
There are so many good linebackers that have come out of Ohio State over the years and so many good defensive players. Walking through those walls and seeing some of their old numbers or jerseys or trophies, what is that like to know that you were next in that line of Buckeyes defensive greats?
It was truly an honor. You always, when you come to Ohio State, you always try to, leave your own legacy. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. But, it's Ohio State. It's constant guys that come in and you got to make a name for yourself and go to the next level and make a name for yourself. I'm just happy I was a part of Ohio State and great tradition. And it's truly been a blessing.
Jerome Baker joining us here on the show. You're an aggressive guy. You want to tackle anybody. Size is not going to be of matter to you. And so wherever you get drafted, if you line up against Baker Mayfield next year, is there a little salt on that?
I wouldn't say it's a little salt. That was back in college. But, I'm a competitor. And one thing I love about Baker Mayfield, he's a competitor. I still, remember the trash talking and all of that. It's all love, but he definitely competes. That's what makes the game fun. So I'm definitely excited to go up against him again.
Jerome Baker, Ohio State linebacker, projected to be a very early pick in the NFL draft. The next Ohio State linebacker that will surely play in the NFL. Jerome, man, good to catch up, buddy. Thanks so much for the time, man, and good luck in the draft. We'll catch up again, hopefully.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. Jerome Baker joining us, Ohio State linebacker here on the show.